Hi, my name is Tia. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to share with you the books I hope to read during the month of November. So my November TBR is going to include a couple of buddy reads, nonfiction November TBR, and then I also plan on pulling from my fall TBR, which is a video that I did a few weeks ago. I will leave that linked in the description box. I haven't read that many of those books that were on that TBR, so I do plan on continuing that into November until I start to feel a pull towards Christmas reading. I will keep reading those fall books. So let's jump into this particular TBR. The buddy reads that I'm going to do, I'm going to list those first. The first one is going to be Blameless by Gail Carriger. This is the third book in the Parasol Protectorate series, and I am buddy reading this with Rainy over at Rainy Day Reads. This is a steampunk series that's set during the Victorian era, and it is following a woman whose name is Alexia, and she has like a supernatural ability to sort of negate the abilities of other supernatural creatures. So if she touches a werewolf or a vampire, for that amount of time that she's touching them, they are not werewolves or vampires. They go back to being human, basically. This third book is a continuation, obviously, of the other ones. The second book left off on a bit of a cliffhanger, so I'm definitely looking forward to what's going to happen in this one. There are obviously, several characters in here that I have grown attached to, and so I'm looking forward to continuing on with their storylines. But yeah, it's just a very interesting series so far. This author has a lot of humor and wit in her writing. It's very quirky. I enjoy the main character, and I always enjoy books about werewolves and vampires, so it should be fun. Looking forward to reading on with this one. And the second book I plan on buddy reading is Sweep in Peace. I don't have a copy of this one yet, but I plan on getting my hands on it before the buddy read, obviously. This is the second in the Innkeeper Chronicles by Ilona Andrews, and I'm going to be buddy reading this with Amy over at Zoe Beck. We read the first one in this series in September. This is like a sci-fi / urban fantasy series. It definitely has a lot of sci-fi elements, but it does have like an urban fantasy feel to it. It's like supernatural creatures, but with more of a scientific explanation for their existence in the world instead of a fantastical description, if that makes any sense at all. But anyway, because this is the second book in a series, I can't say a whole lot about it, but it is following an innkeeper. She runs an inn that caters to supernatural sci-fi creatures that visit from other planets, and it's very, very interesting, and I'm really looking forward to reading the second book as well. So then the other books that I'm going to include in this video are going to be for Nonfiction November, and that is a readathon that is hosted by Olive over at Book Olive. It is in, I think, the 8th year of the readathon, something like that. It's been around for a very long time, but I will leave Olive's channel, or I'll leave her announcement video linked down below for this year. Every year she challenges everyone to read, more nonfiction than you would normally read during the month. And she does offer 4 prompts every year so that you can pick 4 books that fit those prompts. And I don't really plan on trying to work my books around to fit that. I'm just going to read more nonfiction, hopefully, than I normally would read, which doesn't have to be much because honestly, I don't read a ton of nonfiction. I mean, I don't even read one a month generally. Sometimes I will read a couple during a month, but I mean, that's not very common. So favorite genre of nonfiction is definitely memoirs. And so that is what I have pulled out to try and read this month. I specifically really enjoy celebrity memoirs, so I have more of those than any other kind on this list. I would like to read some true crime at some point, but I didn't grab any. I have a couple that I've tried to read before, and I got so scared at the beginning that I had to put them down. So I'm not sure if I'm ready for them yet. but maybe I'll surprise you and actually end up reading some true crime in November. We'll see. First two that I have on this list, I don't actually have a copy of. This one, We Were Dreamers, an immigrant superhero origin story by Simu Liu, I actually have out from the library. So I may end up getting to this one in October. I'm not sure if it'll be October or November. It just depends. Anyway, so yeah, this one is by a guy who is actually one of the newer Marvel superheroes. I don't remember the name of this movie because I haven't seen it yet. It's on my watch later list on Disney Plus, but I definitely want to get to it. I have watched, all the other movies up to this point, so I need to get to it soon. But I've heard great things about this memoir. I've heard that he tells a lot of good stories in here, and I think it's going to be a great read. I actually have the audiobook checked out for this one, so maybe I can do a puzzle and listen to this soon. Other one I actually have pre-ordered. I think it comes out on November the 1st, so I should be getting it not too long from now. And this is Matthew Perry's new memoir, which I'm so excited about. It's called Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. I am a huge Friends fan. I have seen all of the episodes and the outtakes multiple times. Like, I quote that movie so much, I'm sure it drives my kids crazy. That movie, that TV show, so much, I'm sure it drives my kids crazy. Yeah, so I am really looking forward to this. I hope he spills a ton of tea, and I can't wait to read it. So this will probably be one of the very first things that I read in November. I guess I'll just show you the other celebrity memoirs that I have on my list as possibilities for November. Now, I'm not saying that I will get to all of these, but these are the ones that I'm the most interested in, and I'll just read as many as I can, kind of probably alternating them with some of my fall reads, like I said, from my fall TBR. So the other celebrity memoir that I pre-ordered that just came out in October, haven't got a chance to read yet. This is one of my most anticipated reads for this fall, is Tom Felton's new memoir called Beyond the Wand, The Magic and Mayhem of Growing Up a Wizard. So I'm sure you know who Tom Felton is, but he played Draco Malfoy in all of the Harry Potter movies, and I'm really looking forward to this. I mean, I love Tom Felton. I love all of the kids from the Harry Potter movies, and yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to spill some tea about how him and him and Emma Watson had a crush on each other, and there's pictures in here, and I cannot wait to read this. I actually watched their reunion that they did on HBO Max, I believe it was. Gosh, when was that? I don't remember, but it was so good. It was so good. Anyway, I can't wait to read this book. This one's definitely going to happen in November, for sure. Then I have Me, Elton John. This really doesn't need that much of an explanation. I'm sure you know who Elton John is. I've heard great things about his memoir, and I've had it for a while, and I really want to read it. So we'll see which one of these actually gets read, because the next four I am obviously interested in. I just don't know which one I will end up picking up in November. Last night at the Viper Room, River Phoenix and the Hollywood he left behind. So this one isn't actually a memoir. It's written by someone else. It's written by Gavin Edwards because, as I'm sure you know, River Phoenix passed away, so he's unable to write his own memoir. But this one is written by someone else I think he takes a look into, all of the male actors who were really famous during this period and what River Phoenix role in Hollywood at that time was, and how, I guess I'm hoping that we get interactions between him and these other people like Johnny Depp, Nicolas Cage, Keanu Reeves, Brad Pitt. So I've heard good things about this, and I don't know a whole ton about River Phoenix. So I am interested in learning more. Yeah, obviously I would have picked this up. Back to memoirs, I have Andy McCarthy's memoir. Actually, I think he might have multiple ones, but this is called Brat, an 80s story. Andrew, did I say Andy? Andrew, like we're besties, me and Andy. Anyway, Andrew McCarthy was a really popular actor in the 80s, obviously. and he was part of the Brat pack, and I really loved his movies. And so I'm hoping that he's going to spill a little bit of tea about some stuff that happened behind the scenes back then. That's really why I read these. So yeah, looking forward to this one. And then I have Greenlights by Matthew McConaughey, which is a book that I pre-ordered, and I don't even remember when this came out, in 2020 or 2021, but I've had it since then and haven't read it, even though I was very much looking forward to it. I've heard that this is really good on audiobook because he narrates it. So if I can locate a copy, I may listen and read at the same time, because this does have a lot of pictures in it. So I didn't want to miss out on that aspect of the book by only listening to it. So maybe I can do a combination of the two. And another memoir that is not actually a celebrity memoir is The Best We Could Do by Thi Bui. This is a graphic memoir that's following a family as they immigrate from Vietnam to the United States. This one has received a lot of praise. It actually won the American Book Award, and I have had it for a long time and really, really hope to get to it soon. And the last three are actually foodie memoirs. These three are ones, again, that I've had for a while and have been highly anticipating but haven't read. So hopefully I will get to read at least one of these. I really am interested in foodie memoirs, but I am probably interested in celebrity memoirs more. So I'm not sure how this will go. We'll see. From Scratch by Tembi, Locke. So this one, it says a memoir of love, Sicily, and finding home. So I'm not exactly sure if this is a foodie memoir, but I think that this includes a lot of food in it. I think Tembi Locke is actually an actress, and yeah, I don't think she's actually a foodie, but this on the back talks a lot about food. I think it involves her relationship with her husband and like visits to Sicily or Florence, and lots of food and family and community. So yeah, I'm not sure really why it's called From Scratch if she's not a foodie, because that kind of threw me, I'm not gonna lie. Then I have Cork, Dork by Bianca, Bosker. So this is called A Wine-Fueled Adventure Among the Obsessive Sommeliers, Big Bottle Hunters, and Rogue Scientists Who Taught Me to Live for Taste. So I think she is a journalist who goes on like a deep dive with discovering the different aspects of wine. And I've heard great things about this book, that it's very, very interesting, especially if you have any interest in wine at all, which I do. So that's why I picked this up, because it just sounds fascinating, honestly. And I am hoping to get to this one. Out of all the ones on this list, this one actually looks the most intimidating because the print is actually the smallest out of all these books. So we'll see how that goes. Then I have Me The Plums, my gourmet memoir by Ruth Reichl. So I think Ruth Reichl actually is a food journalist, and I think this book outlines like her career and how she got to be one of the top journalists in the food world. And yeah, I think this sounds fascinating. I've heard really good things about this one. And yeah, this one also has really tiny print though, which is intimidating. I want to read this so much, but I'm also intimidated by it. So those are all of the memoirs that I hope to get to in November. Actually, I'm not even going to get to them all. I already know that up front. I'm just saying this is my pile of possibilities for nonfiction November. And you can let me know in the comments if you have read any of these and which ones you recommend that I start with, or if you have any other celebrity memoirs that you would recommend. I definitely would like to know that as well, or like foodie ones, or if there is any true crime out there that you think is not too scary. The two that I have that I was thinking about were I'll Be Gone in the Dark. That's the one that I actually tried to read a while ago, and I got so scared just in like the prologue that I couldn't finish reading it. I still have it though. Someday I will read it. And then the other one is The Stranger Beside Me. I think it's the one by Anne Rule. I think it's the one about Charles Manson, which also sounds incredibly scary. So let me know if you think I can handle those. The thing is, I can read like scary fiction because it's fiction, but whenever it comes to reading true events, they just scare me so much. Yeah. Even though those people were caught, it's just, yeah, it's still scary to me. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you're all doing well, and I will see you next time. Bye.